This project is Depth Landscape. You will be applying the 6 ways of creating depth to a landscape using acrylic paint on a canvas. The objectives for this unit are to make a practice pencil sketch of each of the 6 ways of creating depth in your sketchbook. And that's the first thing that I'll walk through for demoing in a minute. You'll then apply your favorite techniques, and it is possible to use all 6 for creating depth in a pencil sketch to plan out your landscape painting idea. It's important for all painters to do pencil sketches first. You'll watch the following demo video where Mrs. Hauk paints a landscape in layers, starting with the sky and ground, and attempt a similar layer technique in your own work. You'll demonstrate evidence of a background, middle ground, and foreground in your landscape using at least one of the depth techniques. You'll reflect on the successes and challenges of your painting experience, and you'll share your painting with classmates in order to give and receive feedback. Why are we doing this? When you show believable depth in a landscape, it takes your imaginary world to a new level. By trying a few simple tricks, your landscape can look like it covers miles and miles of territory. The materials to gather for this project are a pencil, your sketchbook, a ruler, your canvas, acrylic paint, all the colors you have, a plate for color mixing, paintbrushes, all these sizes you have, a water cup for cleaning your brush, and a paper towel for drying your brush.
So take your sketchbook, open to the next page, and we are going to create 6 boxes to work with to illustrate the techniques. And I'm going to make 2-inch boxes with an inch in between. So this is how I'm going to lay them out. Okay, the first technique is called overlapping shapes. So I'm going to label that. Overlapping shapes. And most of these techniques involve making a horizon line. So that's where land meets sky. I'm just going to make it a little high of center there. And overlapping shapes just means literally when there's something behind something else. So I have my apple in front of the banana. So it looks like it's in front because it's overlapping the banana. The next technique is called diminishing sizes. I'm going to do another horizon line. And this just means that things get smaller toward the horizon line and they're larger down here in what's called the foreground. So say we have a tree. Another tree. Slightly smaller tree. Even smaller tree back there. Next we have linear perspective. And that is when you have something like a road or a path or railroad tracks or a river. And that just means that on the horizon line, there's a vanishing point where your road goes back to. So let's just go all the way and make this a road. We can even make the lines in the middle of the road and everything, and they'll go from bigger to smaller. And next we have atmospheric perspective. And this is best done with something like mountains, where maybe in the front You have a nice dark mountain, and then a little farther away in the distance, you have a lighter mountain, because things that are farther away look lighter because there's actually water vapor in the air that makes things look lighter. So just by handling the value or color, dark, lighter, lightest, you can do kind of layers of hills. So that's on a spherical perspective. And similarly, I'm going to call this one less detail in back. So say we have a horizon line and we have a somewhat detailed flower with lots of petals that we can see. It's growing here. Maybe here in the back, our flower is so small and far away that it's literally just a little circle with a line. Because that's all the detail that we would be able to see because it's so far away. So less detail in the back, more detail in the front. And the last one we have is shading. So I'm just going to do a sphere for this. So when you have, like, this just looks like a circle. It doesn't look very special, but you can kind of give it depth by shading. So it kind of implies that a light source is coming down here. There's the sun up there. And then it would kind of cast a shadow down here. And again, that's just called shading. So we went from a very flat circle to making this circle look like it has depth, because now it looks like a sphere. So these are the 6 ways of creating depth. On the next page in your sketchbook, just make a planning sketch or sketches for your landscape painting. So one of the objectives is to use one or more of the depth techniques, and I kind of challenge you to use a few. So use a few. So I think in my painting that I will do, I'm gonna want to have some kind of a path. So I'm gonna start by sketching a horizon line, and I kind of want to do something a little bit unique with my path and maybe make it go off of the page and then maybe come back on the page. And I think I will want to have some kind of foothill type of hills, and then maybe some bigger mountainous kind of areas. And this would be like the valley where the road is going to go through. And sketches do not have to be perfect. It's just for getting kind of an idea out. And I might do some trees. And of course, they would be larger trees in the foreground. And so if I had some trees back here, they would be much smaller. And if my painting turns out completely different than this, I don't really care. It's just kind of getting an idea out. You're not married to it, and ideas kind of change and evolve over time too. Maybe I'll have an actual sun in my composition too. So maybe I'll have kind of a tree right here that's very close up on that side, and there's my kind of path. Maybe I'll have some really far away trees back here. All right, we'll see how this translates into a painting. This is the canvas I'm going to use, and depending on the canvases that you were given, just pick any one that you would like to use for this project. And I like to start with a few pencil lines, really basic, just to kind of block in where a few things will go. I'm really only going to plan out a couple of lines. That's really going to be about it for lines. And you don't have to do pencil lines if you don't want, but don't get carried away with them because this is more about painting than drawing.